Hello everyone, this is Ibrahim here, and I am at VMUG London at Tech UK here, and I'm here with Stan, the CEO of Runecast, and Stan is going to give us a introduction of the product and also a demo of Runecast. So Stan is going to give us some introduction of the product. It's an analytical product for VMware, and he can give us a demo on the product as well.
Thank you very much. So I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO. I'm also VCDX number 74, and together with my co-founders we decided to develop a product that can discover the risks in your VMware and AWS infrastructures before they cause some major outages or before they cause some security incompliances. The product is called Runecast Analyzer, and it's deployed on premises. So it's an OVA that you download from our website, runecast.com. You can import it, set up the IP address, then connect it to your vCenters, NSX managers if you have NSX, Horizon connection servers, and also if you're using public AWS, you can connect to your AWS accounts as well. So I'm just going to show you here how the interface looks like. Again, it's 1 gig OVA, so it shouldn't take you more than 5 to 10 minutes to deploy. And once you do that, you can log into this web interface. And the first thing you need to do is go ahead and set up the connections to all the vCenter servers. So I'll just click on Settings. And here you'll be able to add your vCenters, Horizon connection servers, also NSX managers, as well as AWS accounts. The minimum required is read-only for vCenter, and there's a few more privileges it's recommended to add to the vCenter user to cover 100% of the functionality. Essentially, what Runecast Analyzer does is it uses information from lots of different online sources like the VMware knowledge base, hardware compatibility list, security compliance guides, best practices. It uses all that amount of information to analyze the configuration and the logs of your VMware and AWS environments, and discovers these potential problems proactively before they cause an outage like purple screen of death or some security breach or security incompliance. But the configuration is pretty easy. Once you deploy, connect to your vCenters. Here is also where you can enable log analysis for the ESXi hosts. Then you can already move on to the main dashboard, which gives you a high-level overview of all the risks that are detected in your environment. And you don't have to wait much for this to appear. It's somewhere between 20 seconds and 2 minutes until the initial configuration analysis is completed. The log analysis is always in near real time. So this is where you can see how many critical, major, medium issues are detected in your environment, number of log issues, configuration problems, level of security compliance, and level of best practice adoption. The product keeps at least 365 days of detailed configuration analysis data, so you can see how you're solving your issues, or maybe some new ones appeared, or maybe something changed in your configuration. So you can keep track of all of that. Everything is interactive, and we see here the configuration issues split by infrastructure layer. So if we want to look at the 52 critical compute issues, I can simply click on this number, 52. And it will show me the page of all issues that are filtered by critical and compute. It will also show me the historical graph of all these issues that happened within the last week or maybe a year. And underneath is the table where I can dive into the details to see exactly what kind of problems are detected. So this one here refers to a potential purple screen of death. If you have some specific ESXi host version and advanced setting on the ESXi host, and also virtual machines running on this host with hardware version 11 and the VMX-Net 3 network driver. So if you have a combination of all these conditions on these two objects, the host and the virtual machine, then you might run into purple screen of death according to this knowledge base article. And keep in mind that in the knowledge base there's over 30,000 knowledge base articles, so there could be all kinds of issues that your environment might be at risk. Let's take a look at this specific one, and I want to see which objects in my environment are potentially affected. This is where you can find in the Findings tab, and here I see that there's a host and a virtual machine, and their conditions or their settings are exactly the ones that are described in the knowledge base article. So the host version, the build number, the advanced parameter mentioned in the KB is enabled, and also the virtual machine running on the host has hardware version 11 and the VMX.NET3 network driver. So everything is as described in the knowledge base article. Therefore, this is accurately reported as a potential problem, which hopefully hasn't happened yet. Hopefully this host hasn't crashed yet as a purple screen of death. But it's important to take one of the steps mentioned in the resolution in order to avoid the problem from happening. So you can either disable hardware LRO, or you can install a patch or install an update. So it's really easy. Instead of you having to dive through thousands of knowledge base articles and tens of thousands of different settings in your environment, you can discover hidden issues like that before they cause a serious problem like an outage in that case. Another interesting piece of analysis that the product does is the hardware compatibility. So that's addressing a huge pain that VMware admins have to address day after day, and that is making sure that every single component of your infrastructure is compatible according to the official VMware hardware compatibility list. This is really difficult to do manually, really time-taking, and the product does this automatically for you. So everywhere I have green, everything is checked, the server models, IO devices, drivers, firmware, BIOS levels, but I do have here some warnings, and as we can see in this specific example, my physical server model is fine, ESXi release, everything else, but unfortunately the BIOS is not compatible with all of these other components. And under list of supported BIOSes, you can see which BIOS levels are compatible based on all these other components like server model and ESXi release and CPU series. You can also click on HCL Online to see the information in the official VMware knowledge base and hardware compatibility list. Yeah. In IO devices, you can also see detailed information about whether your IO devices are also compatible according to the HCL. And I just opened the one which is marked as red.
Yeah.
And I see here that the driver and firmware combination is not compatible according to the HCL and the specific ESXi release. So it is important to either update your driver or firmware to make sure that you're fully compatible. Because if you're not compatible, there could be quite a lot of unexpected problems that are hard to troubleshoot as well, but also you will not be officially supported by VMware unless you have all of your components fully according to the HCL. This is giving you a current snapshot, which is already really useful, but from time to time you have to do upgrades of your environment, and it's really important for you to know in advance whether everything will be green, whether the final configuration after the upgrade will be fully compatible. And manually it's really difficult, close to impossible, to assure that the things will be like that without problems. But here in Runecast you can simulate upgrades, so you can actually predict whether everything will be compatible or whether there will be some incompatible elements in your environment once you do an upgrade. So you can see that in advance. And we have some greens, which is good, but these top servers, there are some issues with them. If we expand the information for one of those servers, we see that there's an IO device that is completely not compatible with the latest version of 6.7 update 3.
This is really good. So yeah, before even we jump into upgrades, and obviously after doing, we'll encounter these errors. So this feature will enable admins to look in the future, yeah, and fix it beforehand proactively, right?
Exactly.
So this is a really nice feature. I love this feature. Yeah,
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think it really can save a lot of time, and people really love it because it's really addressing a very common problem that all the admins have. What I wanted to show you is also the security hardening piece. Now, Runecast Analyzer not only automates the security checks from the security hardening guidelines from VMware, but also we implemented security compliance checks against DISA-STIC, PCI DSS, HIPAA, BSI, and also CIS. These are required by different industries. So this STIC is for federal agencies, PCI DSS is for financial institutions, HIPAA for healthcare, BSI is for German public institutions. So it's really difficult not only to do the technical checks manually, but also to make sure that these standards are satisfied. So what we did with Runecast is not only automated all these technical checks, but also created mapping between the technical checks and the specific parts, security controls and requirements from those security standards. So out of the box you have information that's really useful for auditors if you have a security audit coming your way. Plus the product keeps at least 365 days of detailed data of all the configuration scans. So you're very easily able to provide a report for the last year about what your security posture was like, for example, against PCI DSS or one of the other standards. Yeah. The log analysis piece is also really important. I'll just quickly show you the way that it differs from other log retention tools. Is Runecast Analyzer directly searches in your logs for problematic log patterns that link to known issues from the VMware knowledge base. So instead of you having to search through thousands of logs, it directly tells you the information that you need to know. Do I have a problem? What is the root cause and how to solve it? Yeah, so if there is an issue, it will appear here under log KBs discovered. In findings, you're able to see what log entries came from which host at what specific time. And in details, you're able to see what is the root cause and also the resolution for that particular problem. You can also use the log inspector to browse through important part of your logs. A log inspector filters against important keywords like failed to, unable to, SCSI command, and NMP. So in this colorful graph, you can see if there is increase of number of log entries that include one of those important keywords.
Stan, so this is pulling directly from the vCenter?
This is from the ESXi host, the
logs.
Okay,
directly from the host.
Yeah,
okay.
And for the configuration analysis, it takes from many different sources. vCenter is one of the biggest, but also it takes some small pieces of information directly from the ESXi hosts, also from NSX managers, Horizon connection servers, or AWS as well.
Okay. Can we just quickly dip into the AWS side, because you have recently introduced the AWS feature?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the great thing about it is also that you use the same appliance that you've been using so far to analyze your on-prem environment, but you can simply add the AWS accounts through the settings page that I showed previously over here. And once you do that, you can, first of all, in this main dashboard, all the results are combined from on-prem VMware and from AWS. But if you want to see only the AWS issues, you can switch to the specific AWS dashboard, which will show you the potential risks and issues that are detected in EC2, IAM, S3, and VPC, as well as historical graph with all of those. And if we want to dive into the specific details of each one of these issues, I can just go to the All Issues view, select one of those, or I can look at all of the services, and then I can simply look into one of those problems. Under findings, I can see that I have 2 S3 buckets where public access is allowed. So that's really a quick example how you can reach directly to the potential problem that could be a huge risk, especially if you're storing some important stuff on this S3 bucket.
You need to secure it first of all.
Yes.
It shouldn't be open for public.
Yep.
Nice one. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And obviously, from the point of view of the product, I love the product. And it will be a great benefit for all VMware admins, because it is gives us a single pane of glass to look into, the security and any issues which we are having. The example which you showed with PSOD, a potential PSOD can happen, and also the most important feature, which is when we can potentially see how an upgrade can go before we upgrade it, and minimize the risk of any failures going forward. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Thank you.